like humor is still like a major part of my life.
It's in there. It's part of the brain.
That's what's driven me like always is like, let me see how I can make this random person laugh, or just my buddy, or
For sure.
it's, you always go for the joke. And if I'm like alone, I'm like thinking about future conversations that may happen and how like jokes I can like have just
ready.
Do you do that? Like
I think of things that are funny to me. I might jot them down or scribble them down or let them marinate in my brain. Our jobs as comedians is to make you had to be there moments so you didn't have to be there. That's our job.
I see.
So it's like, it's up to me to catch that, put it in a little journal, take away its life, and then rehydrate it again to the masses when it's time.
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy T. Yburczy.
What is up, my friends? Hey, you're here. You're here. Whoa. Cool. Thanks. I'm happy you stopped by. If this is your first episode, welcome. If it's not, welcome. Still welcome. You're welcome, whether it's your first, 5th, or 59th episode. We've only made, this is 18, but maybe somewhere out there in the future part of the world, universe, animal kingdom, you got to episode 59 on number 18 with me and my friend, Kelly Brassbridge. Ooh-wee. We had fun. We had a fun chat today. I am excited to chat with so many people, and I love talking with my friends that I've made across the globe. Kelly is another friend that I met in Korea. We met doing hip hop, we met doing comedy, we met on the beaches of Busan, baby, and we get into it a little bit. He's Kelly is just a hoot. He's one of these guys that's just like kind of always ready to crack a joke in conversation, and I think it's delightful. I think it's so fun you can hear it when we chat. I'm just like laughing so much of the time, and Kelly just kind of is one of those people who brings it out in me. And I've got another couple of those coming up, so I'm excited for you to be stopping by and hanging out. He is another person who's not necessarily as involved in the creative spaces anymore. And I think those people are important to talk to too on this Jokes and the Gym podcast, because it's about finding balance in your life. And sometimes finding balance means reducing the amount of things you're doing. And sometimes I reduce the amount of comedy I do because I can then focus on other things more. And Kelly's put his teaching career more at the forefront of his life, and I really respect and admire that. And so he's no longer in Korea. He's in the state of Maine, and we get into some of the reasons for all of that. But I was just really happy to chat with Kelly, and we had a fun, good time together on the mics, across the states, coast to coast, living it up. Had a really great time. So I'm glad that you're going to get to listen to us chat, and just you hear, I think we're laughing kind of from the jump. And he also has a lot of really great insights into his own life, and I was just really happy to have a conversation. And so yeah, we had a great time. So I hope you like it. And now is the time of the show where I have a fake sponsor. Now, today's fake sponsor is Cheese Cubes. Have you ever wanted a room temperature cube of cheese? Well, get some cheese cubes. We don't put them in a fridge. We don't put them in a freezer. We just got loose cheese cubes at the front counter of your favorite store. So find loose cheese cubes at a counter at a store near you. And if you don't see them, it's because they're not real cheese cubes. Well, maybe they're real. I don't know. We've seen cubes of cheese, but these cheese cubes might not be for youbs. Anyways, thanks again for stopping by. I have a silly conversation with Kelly, and a good one, and a solid one. And I'm glad that you're checking it out. So thanks for stopping by. Please, please, please enjoy my conversation with Kelly Brassbridge. Right on. What is up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by Jokes in the Gym today. I'm your host, Rudy T, and I'm stoked to have my guest on today. We met back in the day in the beautiful country of Korea, South Korea, the Republic of Korea, where we were both entertainers. He lived in Busan. I lived in Seoul. We met up multiple times, both on comedy stages, on hip-hop stages. I was on his podcast back in the day in an apartment back on the beaches of Busan, baby. Everyone put your hands together for Kelly Brassbridge. Woo, woo, woo.
What's up,
there
man?
There he is. Hey, Kelly, how's
What's
it going?
What's up? Long time no see.
Yeah, it has been a while. I'm excited.
The last time was your going away show in Busan.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was at Beached Bar. I remember I think I hosted it. And it was super fun. Always fun to have you down to the beach to do some comedy and to visit up north and do some with you guys.
Right. Yeah, that was part of the fun of living in Korea. Essentially, was having a few other like sister cities that we would go to do shows in and perform with other folks with and all that kind of stuff. It was a blast, Kelly, and you were always there, like bringing the party. As I remember, you were like a barrel of laughs, tons of fun, a mile a minute. Have you changed in your old age since you left from Busan, from Korea?
Some things have changed. Okay. I don't drink as much as I used to. Like,
good job.
Barely as much as I used to. I mean, I can't say I was an alcoholic. I guess you say that I am an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
But I luckily am one of the types of people who is able to get that into check and then, not have to really like be like, oh, day by day, or I was able to pump the brakes on it, but
it feels good, right? It feels good to pump the brakes.
Yes, now that I'm back in America, I feel like I want to live. Like I want to I don't want to be like hit 65 and not have a few more years in me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So yeah, I think I had to do a little sobriety check, and I'm not sober by no means.
Yeah.
Listen, let me ask you something. Do you look at yourself or do you look at me?
I try to look at you. I try to look at you just because I want to be chatting with you.
I got a problem, man. I'm always like looking at myself, but now I'm going to look. The folks at home are going to see that when my eyes are over here, I'm looking at this guy right here. So
I think they'll be all right. I think they'll understand. You got two hunks on the screen. How can you not look at least one of them? Come on.
Speaking of hunks, you just cut your hair.
Oh yeah.
Now why are you wearing a hat then?
I had to wear my Korean. I had to represent Korea today.
Yeah,
we're Korean friends, so
that's
my
what I thought,
lookin hat.
The change when you cut all of it huge. And I remember the last time I saw you, you had just gotten a haircut. As well.
You see me at these times of change, Kelly. You see me when I'm going through not tumult, but revolutions of sort.
Do people treat you differently with this nicer haircut? I say nicer. That's my opinion.
No, I get it. Do they treat me differently? I don't know. I just try to be myself. I try to be more than a head of hair, my man. You know what I mean? Like I try to make it so it doesn't even matter what kind of hair I have. Yeah,
but when you would walk and approach somebody, or maybe somebody would click on one of your videos, don't you think that they must have been having the first thought is, hey, is this guy more than a head of hair?
Yeah, it's probably often the thought. They're like, this guy's just a bunch of hair on legs. But now I got the short hair, and I'm still be posting clips with the long hair. So I'm some kind of interloper in my own life at this point. The hair still remains. It's a poltergeist.
You think you're just going to let it go again until you're back and then just do like that one? It's just one haircut every 4 years, 5 years.
Just my hair connects at all parts of my body. No, I think right now, part of why I got the haircut was because, I'm working at the Y and I'm hoping to teach like group fitness classes at some point.
And they asked you because your hair was clogging up the swimming pool.
Yeah, it was all braid related.
Pulling out these golden hairs, and they were just like
these auburn amber beauties, just slowing down the pool. People can't get their lap swims in because of this hair. No, that's my drain. My drain is a mess. It's just covered in all sorts of hair and goo.
I did long hair for a moment. And,
oh yeah, how's it feel?
Well, I'd never done it before, but I got it. I got a pretty decent like locks. Like had a hair, but I had to
on you for a while. That was pretty styling.
Yeah, it went to a mullet. But it was just such a pain in the ass. I mean, there was a couple moments where I was like, "Boy, this haircut looks good," and it did. But there was way more moments when I would go like, "Ooh, bad hair day," like, "Ooh, bad hair, bad hair." So totally. When I finally got rid of it, and then the compliments when you get a haircut, people are just like, "Oh, you can tell how much they hated your hair," like the way I'm treating you after your. So
you hated my hair. Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't say that I hated it. That. I would just go when I see shit, Rudy needs a haircut. No, it wasn't that bad, but
it was there. That's how I felt because I was always wearing a hat. It was always back in the bun. And so it was just like not very versatile for me at that point in time. And I needed that. I need versatility. I need to make showers more easy because if I'm going from one place to another, like I need a fresh set of thighs. You know what I mean, my man?
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you mean.
You got to freshen up down there. I got to get tidy.
Oh, you mean like the way you used to blow dry your bits? Do you still?
I did it today. I'll still do it. Yeah, not all the time, but when I got a few minutes and I'm like, I got to treat myself.
I have figured out. I've got it figured out, man. Because I too have a swampy crotch. It is awful.
I get it.
I got this triple paste. It's called. It's a because I always used to like baby powder and just like, and then everything in my bathroom is just coated in a white dust that that originated in my crotch. And this triple paste stuff, it's like a diaper rash preventative cream. And I tell you what, you wouldn't think that putting something like, closer to liquid than it is, a powder would help, but it's all day, no stress. I think I'm going to do it for the rest of my life.
Dude, I've got an ointment that I use, a dollop. I use a hearty dollop of ointment, Eucerin, a liberal application of Eucerin, and I just dollop like a dollop of daisy right down there.
Is it made for your crotch or maybe a baby's crotch?
It is made, I think, for all crotches, and
so it's a Eucerin crotch. The
Eucerin that I use, the potion I use, is not crotch specific. Sorry. It is an ointment that is meant to like help heal skin, and it is moisture wicking. So it kind of helps with things like, if I'm gonna work out, it might help with some of that motion together. Like the cheeks and the thighs and the taints, all of those things smushing together. It just kind of helps grease the wheels, baby.
It
is. But Eucerin's a godsend.
God was saying that bit was going on too long. Wasn't really a bit. It was just a funny thing for us to be seriously discussing.
It was an exploration of the crotch, and sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, and God knows we've already explored one another's crotch enough back in our younger years.
On the beaches of Busan. Oh yeah, so much fun was had.
I had to get those featuring sets somehow.
Yeah, you got to pay to play, brother. I think I just implied prostitution in order for us to get showtime. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes. I guess those are the early days of comedy.
What's up, man? Lay it on me.
Lay it on you. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't much to lay. What are you doing? You said you're not doing as much comedy these days. What's filling your life? You're on vacation. How are you vacationing? What are you doing? And what are you vacationing from?
I had an aunt die, and she left me a lot. Well, no, don't worry about it, man. I am much better off now. Now you see, something. No, I'm just joking. Nobody died. I have a job.
Okay,
I have a job. Well, let me just start with, I'm not doing comedy anymore. I'm hardly doing much creative stuff right now, which is a bummer to say, but it's okay because I've like, since I got home, I spent like 11 years in Korea, not really getting better, in any realm except for creativity.
Right.
And that's how I spent my time. I was doing, comedy, I was doing music, and I was doing podcasts, and I was having a great time socially, creatively.
Totally.
Then I got home and I had plans to continue all that momentum I had.
Are you in the state of Maine?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes. And you might be asking me, because the last time we talked, and I saw that when you sent me a message, I had plans of moving to Portland, Oregon, nearby. Do you remember me saying that to you?
Yeah, that rings a bell.
So I was planning on that because I was just like, I want to change. I had anxiety about moving close to my family again, not that I love my family, but I just was like, oh, that's a pressure, that's something that I haven't had in my life, like any sort of family obligation.
Totally.
Which is kind of a bummer when you look back on, because, now that I'm near my family, I'm so happy. But so I had come home, there was the pandemic, and that kind of like, before that's when my plan to go to Portland was. But then the pandemic happened, and things were different. So I still wanted to leave Korea, and I moved to Maine.
It for you, drawing you away from Korea?
My wife left me.
That happens.
It definitely happens, and it was like sort of a blessing in a way too, because we were both in an unhappy relationship, and that came with like its own struggles, being an international couple. She was Korean,
for sure,
and I think we were both in that way holding each other back. But so she left me, and at that point I was like, well, nothing's like making me stay here at all. So I'm out of here. And that was like my plan, like the week that happened. It took about a year to leave. And when I did, like I was saying, I just got back to Maine because I was like, I'm going to visit family, then I'm going to bounce over to Oregon when this pandemic thing cleans up.
Right.
And neither of those things really happened very quickly. And I had to get a job because I had spent all my savings. So
welcome to the States. That's how it goes. Like you come back. Nobody that I've talked with that has left Korea and came back to the States has had an incredibly smooth transition. Right. It's never been like, oh, it was awesome and I nailed it and I got the job and everything that I was expecting to happen happened. Not once. Not even close.
Well, it could have gone a lot worse than it went for me. I did kind of get on my feet pretty quickly, along with my girlfriend. We both, she's American, and we left together. So I got a quick girlfriend after. It had nothing to do with the end of my relationship, but maybe it has to do with me like needing a relationship. But anyway, I got into a wonderful relationship, and we are both, it was a slow climb because it's been 4 years, but now we're both kind of like on these really great paths.
Nice.
And I'm definitely in a position where, you know, I have all the things that I was really worried about when I was living in Korea, which are
Mm.
like, you know, like a steady job, maybe that one that
Mhm.
I can be proud of. And I'm actually back in school right now, getting my master's in
Love it.
TESOL.
Oh,
So
okay.
so I actually I got a job teaching English to speakers
Oh,
of other languages here in Maine,
yeah.
and I got it off of like my, you know, experience in Korea and the emergency shortage of teachers that there are.
Mhm. Mm.
And
So you did have a smooth transition, it seems like.
you know, I had a couple rough months, but not really. No, I mean, no, the goals that I achieved though are, you know, getting a job and getting like a career and a place where I might be able to retire when I'm 65 and not have to like over drink and fall off a balcony, you know, which was the plan in Korea for turning 65,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, that's how it goes in Korea. You just keep drinking until you fall off a balcony. Like our favorite bars had balconies.
Oh yeah, well, you know, the old joke or the old tale is when you were in Busan and there was a couple old timers and those guys ended up being like my best friends and I'm still in touch with, call
Right.
them the old timers, but they're the people who are spending their life there.
Yeah.
And you know, the old joke was that these guys, they don't have going away parties, they have funerals.
Yeah.
You- it, it's but it was so true, you know. You would see
Yeah.
people like just and if you keep living that sort of party lifestyle, yeah, you're gonna die young.
Hmm.
But
And but it's hard to get away from, especially when you're in comedy and especially when you're in a foreign country. Like you're
right,
living overseas. This is where all the community is built. This is where all your friends are. This is where you have literally the most fun in your life. You've never had more fun. You've never had more freedom. You've never met more cool international people. So you just get wasted. And I totally get it. I did it for a half dozen years.
well, and then also you're going to be going to so many venues that are glad to have you perform, and they'll pay you in booze, like, and
Yeah.
maybe a meal, right? But
Maybe, yeah.
so you're in a position where you're drinking what you think you're worth, you know, and that it's really depressing, you know, but it was also
Yeah.
awesome. Also
Yeah.
awesome, but it
Yes.
can be depressing where it's just like, you know, well, art is not paying me at all. Like,
Right.
you know, it's paying me, it's rewarding me,
Uh-huh.
but it's not like this is just going to, for me, I was like, this is going to be the hobby. Um,
Right.
and I went for a little bit. I tried to do some comedy when I got back.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a couple open mics where, you know, you get like 3 to 5 minutes. I think more
Totally.
like three.
Yeah.
And there's like 30 people signed up.
Mm-hmm.
And but nobody was there to have a good time, it seemed.
Oh.
Like, do you get that sometimes? Like you go into a room and everybody's there to just like, okay, I'm gonna do my set. They set up their camera, they do their set, they take their stuff down and they leave. And nobody was like talking, nobody was like, I felt like nobody wanted to be friends. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I went up and I ran. I went up twice, and I ran a couple like mixed sets of like new and trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Right.
and I practiced and I, you know, like just like, okay, let's see. I'm gonna show these. You know, I'll grab a couple,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Get some
friends.
laughs and
I'll get
have
some
fun.
laughs and some friends. And
Yeah.
I, you know, I got little laughs and I got no friends. And
It's a sad place to be in.
I did chat some people up, but I think everybody was just so focused on themselves and focused on like what they're trying to do with their comedy that
Right.
I was like, you know what, the effort that I'm going to have to put in to make this fun
Mm-hmm.
um and rewarding, I just don't think I have the time, and it's not something I should be focusing on right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so like that, I've not gone back to comedy. Of course, I still live, like humor is still like a major
It's
part of
part.
my life.
It's in there. It's part of the
It's
brain.
yeah, it's that's what's driven me like always is like, let me see how I can make this random person laugh, or just my buddy,
For
or
sure.
it's, you always go for the joke. And if I'm like alone, I'm like thinking about future conversations that may happen and how like jokes I can like have. Just do
Ready.
you do that? Like,
What do I do? I think of things that are funny to me. I might jot them down or scribble them down or let them marinate in my brain. And if they pop out in a convo, cool. But I'm not like looking for opportunities for that. Our jobs as comedians is to make you had to be there moments so you didn't have to be there. That's our job.
I
And
see.
so it's like, it's up to me to catch that, put it in a little journal, take
Right.
away its life, and then rehydrate it again to the masses when it's time. And that's the challenge, right? That's the hard
Yeah.
part of making comedy alive, because it's making this past ethereal moment in time something that is consumable to the masses or
Right.
whoever's in that bar. And like you said, as you see, it's so much harder in the States in a lot of ways, because I think in Korea, you touched on a lot of things when in your comments. In Korea, we were there to communicate with each other. We were there to feel a sense of connection. We were there to be closer with one another. And in the States, people do have much more. That's one of the drawbacks of the American mindset, the American way. It's like, yes, we're all independent. Yes, we are our own selves. Yes, we can do the things we dream of and we want to do, but it comes at the cost of connection. It comes at the cost of being a part of something larger than yourself. And so that's where, religious and political ideology comes in more pervasive than the other thoughts of like, hey, we're all just travelers. Literally, that was our religion. We're just travelers in Korea, because most of our friends were of the international ilk. We're here to take in a new place, have a little fun, save a little money, and meet some people in a new country that we're not familiar with. And it's so different than the mindset that you came back to and that I came back to.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously, like, you came like, what, 2 years or a year before the pandemic? And then
Yeah, I was in the Midwest in 2017, 18, and then here for about a year plus before the pandemic came in. So I was in the Midwest with my sister, did some comedy there, moved back to Oregon, and then did comedy here. I was like, I did so much comedy in Korea. We brought over so many comedians, hilarious people, wonderful comics that I'm very fortunate to have in my life still. And I came back to Eugene and it was like, well, if I did that in Korea, I could do it here. And so turns out I could. And I was in a nice spot, had a nice day job, part-time, had a nice, opportunity to pursue comedy in the evening, and then also had enough time and energy to put on these Just Comedy shows with Seth and the rest of the Eugene comedy scene, right? And it just the pandemic took me out at the knees, and it allowed a lot of freedom in other ways, but also didn't allow me to do a lot of other stuff. So it's just kind of finding that balance and flexibility. Strength, balance, flexibility. Those are my 3 keywords right now. Not just in the gym, not just in comedy, but in my life in general. How can I be strong, balanced, and flexible? And when I try to keep those things in mind and then frame my challenges as a way to work on one or all of those, main tenets of my life right now, then it makes things a lot more doable. So that's where I'm going.
I think flexibility is a major one if you want success. In my field, for sure. I mean, like, working in a school, like, you just have to be flexible and you have to be ready to go with the flow, or you're gonna fail.
Right.
It's not going to work out in your favor if you can't just like switch up your game plan and continue leading.
So are you in a school like a K-5, or are you in an academy? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm in a public school. I teach 6th graders, and sixth grade English language learners.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. I really like it. I was good at it, and I liked it in Korea, and and I'm still good at it, like to
Yeah.
toot my own horn, and I like it in America. And I almost feel like it's very important what I do here in America. Like when I was doing it in Korea, I was teaching just rich kids who had money, and it just
Mhm.
wasn't really, it wasn't really like I was making a big difference,
Right.
So now I think I have a much better opportunity to make a difference in the community, and I feel proud of
Uh,
what I do.
I love that. It's so important for us to have meaningful pursuits, something that we do that means something to us, so that like our days aren't just filled with mindless whatever it is, And so it's like, okay, no, I believe that yes, it is important for people to be able to communicate with each other in the States. It is important for young international students, immigrants, people from all walks of life to have experience with native English speakers, because like in Korea, a lot of times when we were teaching kids of all and adults, they would never have spoken with a native English speaker before,
Right.
right? And so
Mm.
it is really rewarding to be able to enhance the communication abilities of the international communities that we're still a part of. Because I don't know about you, but because you're in that international community still in a lot of ways, you get to have that experience of people from all walks of life and that kind of thing, where your eyes are still being open to that kind of stuff. Whereas in Eugene, it's a lot harder to find that. You really have to seek out those experiences.
Right. Yeah. I live in well, I don't know. I don't know how big your audience is. I don't want them to come and find me, but I live in a here in Maine. It's a huge hub, and always has been, for refugee and immigrants, and since before I was born, it was a huge hub. It's this city that I think people could narrow down pretty easily, Lewiston, Maine. So, but yeah, I like it. I just so happened to land here as well, and
Yeah.
it the need for this. So it's pretty cool. Like I feel, I got this career now, and it wasn't really a career when I was doing it in Korea. However,
So
on my
cool.
resume, it sure as hell will seem like it was, right?
Right. It
So
definitely looks like it. 10 years, 11 years in a field internationally, that speaks highly of you.
yeah, for sure. But I like it. Yeah, but even with the podcast, I was hoping to like keep that going, and you know what? I probably will one day, right? But
Yeah.
whether it's the podcast, like when I first, there's a huge homeless population here. I'm sure there is where you're at too. And
Mhm.
I was just like, wow, I could go and talk to these people. I could go interview them like the same way I did people on my podcast. And I'm sure it will be absolutely compelling. But once again, I was just like, that's not the focus right now. Right now, we're getting
Mhm.
our education, we're working at our job, we're doing
Mhm.
our best there, because that's what's important, like for
Yeah.
me to like continue here in life.
Totally. Well,
Yeah.
the other important component to continue in life is health, mental and physical health. So how have you been incorporating that into your life? What has been the focus for you? What has your gym been lately?
Well, you might not know, but I have always been like big on diet and big on exercise, like daily
Nice.
exercise.
Uh-huh. Well, you seemed
Has
more
always been a
Is that a donut?
what is what?
Are you eating a donut off camera?
No,
You
this
cr-
is
you cretin?
this is glue.
This is glue.
I was huffing glue.
You just take a big swig of glue.
No,
and just
this
nose
is
it.
I didn't have lunch, so I
Time for your daily cupcake.
no, I have to wipe this off. But no, no, you had me on a show that's about comedy and
health.
health, and those are two things that I have been neglecting a lot lately.
Well, I'm going to end the conversation there.
Okay, well, it's been nice talking to you.
Nice to catch up, Kelly.
and take care. Oh, by the way, we saw the eclipse. That was cool. Okay, see you, bud. Hey, no, I'm joking. I don't, but I don't go to the gym, and I
love it.
It's been the winter, and that for a lot of people, it definitely me, is not my active time of the year. Sadly,
you're hibernatory.
sadly, Maine has like a 6-month winter.
Oof.
But no, because my activities are definitely biking,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not that it's definitely hard to get out there in the winter and do it. And I don't know, just exploring, I guess, but not that that's an activity, but walking and
Mm-hmm.
hiking and checking out new shit that I've never seen. And I'm the type, I'll be like driving, I'll be like, whoa, look at that way out there. Like there's a barn in the woods. Let's go check that out. And but it's or like there's a train there's train tracks that
Yeah.
go in there, and they're and then I'll like look at the map and I'll say, oh, they connect here. So I'll like get dropped off, and then I'll walk through the woods on these train tracks and see if I can find a dead body like stand by me. But I am sort of like blessed that I have good enough genetics that it still looks like I got, it still
You
looks
look
like I
kind
got
of
pipes,
built, man. Yeah, you look
but
like you're ready to bench press or something.
yeah, I know. It's very lucky, but they're like marshmallow, it's not I am so bad at working out and so bad at like physical labor and stuff. I'm very
Okay.
weak. But
You're
I don't
very
look
weak.
it. I
So
don't
do
look
you
it.
try to incorporate movement into your life? Is this like a daily thing when you get dropped off in the woods on the
Oh
train
no,
tracks?
no, God,
You're
no.
like, blindfold
No.
me and
That's like a
chuck me
once
at
a
a...
month thing.
Okay.
Like it's I've got a kayak too, so I do all
Okay.
these physical things, but they're not like, oh, I gotta get on my bike, because
Yeah.
I didn't ride yesterday. I gotta ride
Right.
today or anything like that. It's just I'm not a total couch potato, but
Right.
I'm also not like really watching my diet,
You're
watching my
not up and at
exercise,
'em.
and
No.
no. And getting older, like I'm noticing that,
Mm-hmm.
the body's taking a toll, especially being like out of shape.
Right.
You get hurt way more, or your muscles get
So
pulled,
much.
or like,
Yeah.
you feel like a fat lard when you take up one bite of a cupcake.
Don't feel like a fat lard, but you do want to move around. You want to jiggle a little bit more, like
Do you want to
wiggle.
see my belly?
I'm not asking to see your
Sh-
belly. This was
What do you
totally
think?
unprompted.
Do you think people at home, you emailed me that like you might want to see my belly. So do you want to see it?
I didn't say that anywhere in the email. There was no belly talk at all. This is putting words in my belly.
Okay, fair enough. And I'll keep my shirt on.
Okay, it is 100% your call. I'm just saying I'm not going to be complicit in this belly showing because
Okay, fine. I'm not doing it.
Okay, I want you to show whatever you want to show, and you're showing the realest size of old KB that I can think of.
Speaking of showing you something, I think I had to show you my cat.
Oh, I would love to see a cat. We got a
I know,
cat around?
it's hard. This is like hyperactive.
It's mostly audio, but...
Do. Oh, is it really? Because
yeah.
I've only seen the video stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I put the clips up online. Maybe we'll find room for an online cat clip.
If it's... Okay, then cut this part out. If it is audio, then just, I'm not going to get the cat. He's sleeping. Okay? But I'll just be like, okay, well, real quick, look at this cat. And then you can have a big reaction.
Oh, at some point when the cat is more inclined to be on camera, let me know. I'll be happy to have a reaction.
Okay, so you don't want to fake it, like
I
to
don't
make
need
it a bigger thing for the
no,
audio?
You've been watching too much Nathan Fielder.
Rudy, I've been doing podcasting a little longer than you have.
Yeah,
and I know what people want. They want big reactions.
They want them.
They want to hear the joy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's come on. Take the wheel.
So
please.
if I want to get a big popular podcast, what do I got to do? What are the things? What would you tell me to do? You're like, Rudy, I see what you're doing, and it sucks.
Yeah. No, come on. No, I am not saying that. But the advice, I mean, I was just honest, and I you know what I did is every episode I told a humiliating story from my life. Some of them worse than before, and then I would also try to get the guest to reveal some humiliating story.
I think was the angle.
Yeah, exactly. And that was saved for the end, is this humiliating tale of regret. And I went through all my memories of shame and embarrassment in life, and I wrote them all down on a piece of paper. I would shake that little thing, and I'd have the guest pull out a paper, and then I would tell that story, and they would also tell a story of regret. Don't you remember? I think you talked about peeing your pants in a movie rental shop.
Oh, I believe that. That sounds a lot like me.
How do you like that memory, by the way? I didn't check up on that. I just remember. I remember you peed your pants.
I don't know if it was peed my pants in a movie shop. I think it was pooped my pants in a Taco Bell.
Okay, pooped your pants in a Taco Bell.
That was next door to a movie rental place. It's now a police station.
I got details though. Yeah, right. The movie rental shops
they're gone.
But yeah, that's what I did, and I'm not going to be able to help you. Certainly have better guests than me.
Yeah, that's the first rule. Yeah, get better guests. Well, no, I mean the whole goal of a podcast, one of the main goals for me is to deepen relationships.
Yeah,
you know, and to be able to get to know people better and just have a fun chat with someone, because that's not what we do, you know, like even you and I, right? We go to mics, we would see each other at shows, we'd drink beers on the beach, you know, that kind of stuff. But there's not as much time to just sit down and get to know somebody. And I think that that's a really worthwhile endeavor, no matter how much comedy someone does or doesn't do at a given point.
You are definitely going to get rewarded there then, because that was my takeaway from the entire podcasting experience, was just like the connections I made, the friendships I made, and just the awesome hangs, you know, the awesome conversation that would come from it. That's what I got. That was the biggest reward from all of it.
100%. It's just so nice. As a person who does get a little anxious around crowds, as silly as that may sound, being a performer and somebody who loves to be on stage, when it's just me floating around in a space, that's a lot kind of more challenging for me to navigate than a one-on-one conversation. You know, I'd rather find a nice corner with somebody and chat for a couple hours at the bar, as opposed to being up and at 'em the whole time, because that sucks it out. But time alone, one-on-one, that fills me up, you know. Right. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to do, is find the things that fill me up, find the things that are fun, find the things that help propel me forward, as opposed to the things that I really have to like get energy up to do it. Right. But these kinds of activities, I've found that podcasting and the act of it, maybe not editing, maybe not all the aspects of it, but being a person who can just converse with other people is super rewarding and super fun. And I just like getting better at communication and seeing where I need to improve.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was also a big part of it for me, was listening. And as you or anybody who's been listening here, you know, it's hard sometimes, because I'll be listening to you, and just like everybody, like not everybody does this, but a lot of people do, is they're thinking about what am I gonna say after this? What am I gonna say? And then go ahead.
I've got a TED Talk for you. Celeste Headley, 10 Ways to Have a Better Conversation. I try to listen to it weekly. It's just 10 minutes, and I try to listen to it before each day I record a podcast. She's awesome. I think I mentioned her on last week's podcast, but 10 ways to have a better conversation. And one of them is go with the flow and don't think about what you're going to say next. Go in with the intent to listen, with the intent to learn, and let whatever comes to you come to you. Because so many times you'll be like watching or listening an interview, and the host will just lose the thread because they thought of a question minutes ago and then didn't continue following the conversation necessarily. So that really sticks with me. And I try to do things to improve my ability when it comes to communicating and connecting with others, because that's what it is. It's about connecting with others.
Right. And
so I would definitely look into her podcast or her TED Talk.
So it's a TED Talk that you watch again and again.
Correct.
Okay.
I have the 10 ways to have a better conversation on my.
Is this your apartment?
Yeah, I live here. I have a kitchen slash studio slash. Yeah,
Nice.
it's an apartment. It's a
You
cottage.
you live alone?
I live in a cottage in my mom's backyard, and I rent. I pay her for this. Is like a in-law unit kind of a deal.
Oh yeah.
That a lot of tenants have lived in over the years.
Very nice.
So
Very
it is nice. I'm in my backyard, my childhood backyard, but there are cats around and it's gorgeous. I have my gym back here. There's trees. I mow the lawn. I do blackberries. I clip. I get out in the sun on a regular basis. And I'm close to my mom, and we don't have to share the same space all the time, but we see each other daily.
I also rent, and that's my next goal, is to just like build up enough and buy a house, but it's just like such a hard time to buy your first home
man.
in this world.
Is that what you're working on? Are those your goals? What are your goals kind of that you're working towards at the moment?
Yeah. Well, my goal, I have a goal to finish my master's. I think right now I'm on schedule to have it done before next summer. And that will be cool. I've got
how many classes are you taking a term? Because it's a big responsibility.
Just one per semester. But this summer I'm taking 2, and I'm in the middle of one that's going to finish in a couple weeks here. So I'll have 3. I think I have 5 left to take, and I've taken 6 classes since I got home. Okay. And let me tell you, it sucks. The learning is great, but the providing the evidence that you've learned is just the biggest pain in the ass. Because a lot of times it's just like repeating and doing the same thing and just meeting all these deadlines and having these things to do. It's very draining for somebody who's a procrastinator, because I have a project due on Sunday, and it's not going to be that bad. I think it'll take me about 3 hours. I was going to get it done this morning. But I didn't do it. And the fact is, I'm not going to do it until Sunday. But every day this week, I'm going to say, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to get it done. But I'm not.
But you're not.
I know I won't. And
why not? Does that make you feel better to like prep for it, to kind of beat yourself up for it?
No, it doesn't. It makes it a total nightmare. And you know how great I would feel and how great I will feel on Sunday when I turn it in. It always feels good to finish the work, and I'm very proud of the work that I do. I don't want to be like, I am trying. I don't want to jinx it. But right now I have a 4.0, and I'm trying to keep it. It's not easy. But it's not too hard either. It's just like meet the requirements, meet the deadlines, and get it all done.
Do the work on time completely.
So if I finish and I have that, when I finish, I will be proud. And I'm proud every time I turn in something, but then it's just like, oh, there's something due in 3 more days. There's something else due. There's something else due. So it's endless. And, and it's just a pain in the ass. I feel like, I'm learning a lot. It's awesome. I'm like really, and I'm making such huge connections to what I've been doing. I have so much experience in this that like I have something that a lot of the other students don't have, which is just the real world experience that I'm learning and making all these connections to. So I'm always able to like pull something out and make like a connection. And that's what a huge part of learning to teach is just like talking about the application, or there's a lot of theory to it. There's no testing in these. It's just writing papers, researching, and having discussions, and then writing lesson plans, fake lesson plans.
Right. So having had that real world experience in the theoretical, fields that you're discussing, it really adds a lot to the class, I'm sure. And it adds a lot to your ability to learn it more, because it's like, oh, I have experienced this exact phenomenon they're describing in 12 pages of detail right here. And I've taught it for 7 years at the 8th grade level, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, for sure. No, exactly. But it's good. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. Cause I really do feel confident in what I'm doing. And a big part of teaching is just human relationship anyway. That's and a big part of being a responsible adult, being a role model for these kids, is just showing them how to deal with life and how to deal with emotion is one of our biggest challenges in the classroom. And even my emotion can be a challenge in the classroom. If a kid's pissing me off or, whatever, I feel like now that I have to watch my language, but
it's you're a teacher and you're a person and you deal with challenges on a regular basis. And some of those includes behavioral challenges with your students, and that you have to discover, find, enhance your ability to let things slide, right?
Yeah,
to have stuff not hit you. And sometimes that's a lifelong process of like, how does this behavior coming from this person, how do I make it so that doesn't ruin my day?
Yeah. Well, you know what, that's the thing is like being a somebody who is like, I didn't bring it up, but I'm very self-reflective, and I'll
you just did.
Yeah, well, here it is. I'm a self-reflective guy.
You brought it up.
So if I do have a negative interaction somewhere in my day, I will think about it, and I will, figure out how, what my next response is. And if you have relationships with people, you have to address it, and you have to take the L, or just like show your vulnerability a little bit, even if it is with a sixth grader, and just be like, hey, when I sort of yelled at you yesterday, or I really, it's because of this, or I get stressed out myself, and we have to work together, and here's our plan for the future. What do you think? Can we agree? And I think just showing that, the thing that doesn't work in teaching is expecting respect without giving it back. So if I don't, it doesn't work. A lot of people think that like, I am the teacher, you must listen. I cannot believe you just said that to me. But if you really think about it, it's believable that was just said to you. And
I get it.
Yeah. So,
I was being a dickhead.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And a lot of teachers are dickheads, and sometimes I can be one too. But if you show that the reason that you're being instead of being a dickhead, you're being strict, and you're holding your students to high expectations, because they're capable, and we don't want them to, and that's what we're doing, was we're setting up a challenge, and I'm here to get you over that.
For sure. I think that's great. And if someone is being a jerk at their work, it's probably because they don't have other things in line. It's probably because their home life is in disarray of some sort. They've lost control over the rest of their lives. So it's like you're doing a service to not only your students, but yourself and your own well-being if you take care of that external stuff outside of work. You know what I mean? It's like, if you take care of your life and you're like, okay, how can I make my life feel like it's mine? Then when you go to work and things that are outside of your control hit you, they're not going to hit you as hard. Does that make sense? Do you buy that at all?
Oh, I absolutely. Yes, of course. It's about mental toughness, right? Is that what you were kind of saying?
Yeah, essentially.
Like having your, okay, go ahead. Like having your whole,
having your shit together.
It's your balance, right?
Yeah. Find that balance in your life.
Because if everything's broken over here and then shit's not working out here, like, where are you going to exist?
Yeah. And we can't just hold on to this notion that we have to control everything we touch. We can't control most things we touch, in fact. And so, like, okay, what can I control? And how can I use that to help me get better for whatever my next task is? Because we don't always have, that's what I'm getting used to right now, having an external schedule that's put on me by someone else. It's like, oh shit, I have these weird chunks of days where I work and these nice and also weird chunks where I don't. And I have to balance comedy, creativity, my podcast, my work, my physical self, my social self, my eating, my sleeping, my cats, my friends, going on dates. I have to balance all those things.
And this is where we find you're realizing you got to go with the flow. Right?
Exactly. You got to go with the flow and just do the thing in front of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you don't try to change it, because, that's where you're if you get stuck trying to change something, now you're, 2 steps behind for your next appointment, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Are you dating much, or?
I'm trying to meet people, I'll chat with people.
It's gotta be a nightmare.
Dude, it's rough.
I mean, could you imagine being in somebody else's position and meeting somebody like you?
Nobody knows what to do with me, Kelly. I tell you what, just joking. Nobody knows. It's I don't know what it is, but that's part of that. Like, okay, here's what I am. There's the strength. Here's what other people want, right? And okay, I see that other people want those things, and I may or may not inhabit some of those things, but this is how you play the game. There's the flexibility, right? So it's like, okay, here's who I am. Here's how I present that. Here's how I give that to the people that I want to get to know better. And then it's like, and whatever happens, happens. And that's the balance. It's like, okay, well, it may not be a good match, or it may be, dude, I'm 40. 40-year-olds don't want to date me. I'm not a great 40-year-old partner. I just don't have the resume for it. I'm not awesome on paper for it, because I'm not like looking to have kids. I'm not loaded in money. I've been to tons of places. I've had tons of experience. I'm a good listener. I like to finger people. I'm a good partner, but it's hard to put that all out there in a package to someone who is on a similar level as me. So that's where you have to go with the flow and just be okay with things as they are, and just kind of be a little more choosy. And I think as you get older, you become a little more particular with who you spend time with, how you use your time, and like what you put into your mind, body, and soul, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't like with booze. Booze is a perfect example. It's like, when's the last time you had the last time I had 3 beers was last year. Like this year I've had 2 glasses of wine. It's felt great. And the idea of having like 5 drinks right now sounds bananas to me. It's just not where I'm at. And it's no shame or hate on people who do that. It's just like, if I had 5 beers, I'd feel like shit all weekend. It would ruin 72 hours.
Same here. Yeah, I can't drink like that anymore. I just can't. There's no point. But I do miss it though. But the thing is, it's like maybe my health, I can't take it. My age, I can't take it. Like that's kind of, it wasn't just, I know it sounds great. I was like, I was able to stop. Well, I also had to, because it was just like you were talking about, 5 beers, or even like sometimes 3 Bud Lights and a stack of cookies. And I'd have a hangover for 3 days, and it's just, I can't take it.
The sleeve of Oreos isn't just treating me as nicely as it used to.
No, I used to be able to pound these sleeves, but
everything was tube shaped. Oreos, Pringles, all the good ice creams.
Right, hot dogs.
Yes, more please.
Yeah, easily to slip into your valve easily.
Yeah, well. So, what are your challenges these days? What are the things that you're like putting some focus into? I know you got school. I know you got your relationship.
Money. Money's the challenge. I'm in it's so funny, but like I happen to be making more money than I've ever made, but I'm also somehow spending more money than I've ever spent. I am saving. I'm also saving more money than I've ever saved, but it's slow. It's very slow. It's not, but it's steady. Thankfully,
feels good, right?
I've never had to like tap into my saving yet. But I'm dumping a lot of money into like retirement stuff, whether I do have a pension with my job, and then I also am putting money into a 403b, which is similar to a 401k, but it's this one is for teachers. But I'm doing that because for so long I had no savings and I had no retirement plan, and I think I said it before, I was very worried about that. But now that I'm putting away so much money, it's like I only have this money to put away, so it leaves me with really like it's hard, man. It's just it's a hard balance to like make a teacher salary and then and I don't want to work another job, but I might have to. But
okay, so thinking about all the balance and stuff, and you've mentioned potentially going back to the podcast or some jokes here and there, that kind of stuff. How what are like the things that you would love to find time to work on? What would be nice? What's the project, the Kelly project, that sounds really fun?
What? I do have a little project you kind of just reminded me of. And because there is always a creative thing going on. There's always, and it's always, maybe it's always different, but I am always changing and trying to try something new. Like, for example, last year I took out my old film camera, this K1000 Pentax, and I cleaned it up. I took it apart, cleaned it, and then I like relearned how to use it. And I took some great film photos, but that's not what you reminded me of. I actually am writing I have a little, I'm pulling something up, but I have a little poetry I've been writing.
Okay.
And I'm thinking of releasing, the idea is that once I get a nice, maybe like 20, I'll maybe like print out, some little books or pamphlets, give them to some friends and stuff like that. But it is it's like poetry because of the way it's being written, but they're actually songs for like a punk or death metal. No, not more like a punk metal band.
Yeah.
So I've written like I've written like 6 songs. So I'm like trying to get like 20, because then I feel like, okay, well that's a full thing that I've done.
Big chunk.
So I don't know. Would you like to hear one?
Yeah, I'd love to hear one. Absolutely.
I've never shared. I've only shared with my girlfriend.
Awesome. I love it.
So let me.
Is her name Kelly too, by chance?
No, her name is Sam.
Okay.
We can't.
Kelly
You can't have. You can't have too many Kellys.
Yeah.
So this is so keep in mind, this is for like a 3-piece band, or like fast and like yeah, exactly. So this song is called "Drowning in a Cave in Cambodia."
Oh yeah, this sounds great.
Okay. The only thing you'll find in this cave is the possibility of death. The only thing you'll find in this cave is the possibility of death, 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 death. Death awaits. Death awaits. Death awaits Cambodia. Death awaits. Death awaits. Death awaits Cambodia. Yeah, you're already catching it, right? Tightness, can't turn around, out of breath, underground, panic, pressed on your back, sucking up, pull off the mask. Pull, 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 pull off the mask.
Boom.
It's good, right?
I'm dead in Cambodia, man. That's what I'm feeling.
Couldn't you just see a band doing that? So that's the whole idea, is that you're going to read it on page.
Yeah.
But it should, like, you should be able to visualize this song,
That feels way more like you got to put it in the headphones and just do your 90-second, you're doing your kick flips, you're doing your BMX, and, death in Cambodia,
death awaits. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a band and I don't have anybody to collaborate with. So that's what you have to do, and that's why I used to rap, is because I didn't have to really collaborate with anybody. I could just do it by myself.
Didn't we do a 4-minute song on Jesus Christ? Was that us? Man.
Yeah.
I think we did a cheese song for 4 minutes.
Was that live?
Yeah, I think it was just a freestyle at one of the HQs or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's so funny. I was Yeah, I think the first time we met was at a
Iron
what was
Mike,
the
maybe?
name?
Was it Iron Mike?
That's Iron Mike. That's the guys who were freestyling, and it was a freestyle improv show, right? Comedy show.
They were the time-space continuum, rhyme-space
Yes.
continuum.
Yes.
And that bled into Iron Mike, because rhyme-space continuum.
Yes.
I lived with Benny Fax for a while, and the Naughty Rooster.
Benny Fax.
Benny Fax
What's
was dope.
up?
I love Benny Fax.
Yeah, he's
shout
cool
out
as
to
hell.
Benny Fax. Yeah, I
Shout
wonder what Benny's
out.
up to. He
Yeah.
would come into because we were roommates for a while, and he would just come into my room and chat for a minute, fart, and then leave. I'm like, God damn it, Benny Fax. Him and the Naughty Rooster.
A fart, man, it could be, it could be the relationship killer. That's not dating advice. I'm just talking about, like, I just remember this one dude when I was in Busan. I was at some bar, and it was like this guy that I really wasn't sure. I really didn't give a shit about, like, hanging out with him too much. And then all of a sudden, like, there's this horrible stench. And he's like sitting over there, like, and he's like laughing at the fact that his asshole stinks so badly. And I was like, that's it. It's like, that's it. I do hate him. Like, and that was it.
With someone like that, definitely. If a person you do not trust shows you why you don't trust them, you believe them. You believe that pants cans. You believe that fart
you've
juice.
got evidence, yes, this is what you're producing. This is all you're giving me. And
Benny's farts were a lot more benign than that.
Yeah, he strikes me as the type of guy, farts don't stink.
That's one of the kindest things you could say about a person. It's like, I bet your farts are pretty palatable.
Right. No stench.
Yeah, just
pure
minimal,
veggie.
Just a laugh, a chuckle, a toot, and a toodaloo. Hi-yo.
Yeah, good times. I mean, I reminisce a lot about the times in Korea, and it's just like it's hard to think. It's a love-hate, because I just went to see Rudy, my professor from my bachelor degree that I graduated from school in 2004. And I hadn't been back for 20 years. I hadn't walked campus, and I hadn't done anything. So I reached out to my old professor, who I have not spoken to since graduation. And he gave me some office hours. I went and saw him. That was Monday. I went and saw him, and it was just amazing. And it was like, he'd been there and I'd been everywhere. And it was just like to make all those connections. I had a love-hate relationship with school back then. I had a lot of depression, and I also had a chip on my shoulder. Like, I was a real arrogant young person, but it was cool to show up, say hello. And what I really focused on was just like giving a little gratitude and, just like talking about, we shared some kind of old stories, but I just really wanted to say thanks, because very memorable experience, being there. So anyhow, I have a similar feeling about Korea, where while I was growing as an artist, my life sort of remained stagnant. Like I had kind of paused at this youthful area and focused on myself, and my reward is the applause, or my reward is the audience reaction, or the reaction. And I was always like trying to produce something for somebody else,
and then feel that come back to you.
Exactly right. I wanted all that recognition, but now I just don't. Except, when somebody hits me up and asks me to do a podcast, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. I got 1,000 things to say. He won't be able to keep up with me.
I couldn't. Yeah, there's 1,200 branches. There's 12 other alternate timelines where this podcast ends very differently.
Right. Yeah, let's cut to one of those right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh, and then I took the dog out of my ass.
Disgusting.
Gross.
I knew it, and it passed. That's how it passed.
Yeah, that's how. And then I had my dog back.
That's how I passed the dog.
Yeah. Turns out wiener dogs, you don't want to take the name too literally. Okay, we'll go back to the first one.
Woo! Have you? How do you look back on your Korean experience?
Yeah, with fondness and nostalgia, I think is kind of how I see it. It's like so many wonderful people from my time there. I feel so thankful to have met so many awesome folks and to have been able to travel all over the world and live in different places, be in a giant city. I'm so stoked that I had those opportunities when I did and that I took advantage of them, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people get to age 40, right? A lot of people get to around the ages where we're at, and yeah, they maybe have money or other things, but they haven't had experiences and they haven't had the opportunity to travel and be a jackass for a while. And it's like, I'm glad I had that experience, because I think it broadens your horizons and it humbles you, and it allows you to remain open to new experiences. Or those are the things that I've taken from. And so I'm really thankful. And it hits me in a very real way every day, because I started comedy there. I recreated so many friendships with some of my favorite comedians in the world, quite literally, that I maintain to this day because of my time in Korea. And so it is an active part of me, and I get to hold on to the good stuff. I don't feel this longing for it. I don't feel this, I wish I'd only done things differently. It's like, maybe I wish I'd have drank a little less, but I fucking nailed it. I hit a home run in Korea, and I'm so stoked about it. Like, it's awesome that I had that experience, and I look at the posters on my wall and think of the shows we did and the lives we changed through comedy. It's a service. So, like, it does sound a little high and mighty or tooting your own horn, but comedy, I want to put on good shows with comedians I believe in, because the world is now better. When you get 100 people in a room, 200, 300, or 20 people in a room with a great comedian who's happy to be there, there's nothing better to me.
Right. I really do miss that too. I really do miss having, I really miss the camaraderie of comedy. And I think that's the thing that immediately turned me off, is I was like, I'm not feeling camaraderie here, and I don't think I have the time to go and try and get gigs like all these guys are working their asses off for right now. And I also looked at it like, well, I'll be able to start from this point anytime. Like, I'm not losing any, I'm not going to lose any of my paces from where I am right now. So let's focus on the other thing. And then if I get the urge to stand up or, to produce songs. Creativity, do some songs, put out another mixtape or something, then I will. But it's not the priority now. But I do miss putting a big show on, having it be a success, just feeling the good vibes that you can go like, wow, I created this with all these people, and it's a celebration.
Right. And I think for the most part, we embodied that well in Korea. The people that I was fortunate enough to spend time with, and that you were fortunate enough to spend time with, it's like, yeah, you get in your head a little bit, you get in your feelings, you get in your butt here and there, but it's like, ultimately, who gives a shit? And it's like, I have nothing but love. Albert is going to be in town. Another friend from Korea, Matt Schmidt, lives in town. So like, you see all these people, you get to go on these trips, you get to put on good shows, and it's as a result of our time in Korea directly.
Right. And now you and I, we have connections all over the world, know, all over America and all over, we got connections. We got old friends that, I definitely will see all of my old friends again, like it's,
we've got guaranteed. Like Irish friends and Kiwi friends. And it's like, I've been to see them in their home countries in a lot of the cases. And so it's like, so cool that that's still out there. And I love that aspect of the time we spent in Korea.
Did you ever regret leaving, or did you ever think that you wanted to go back?
Never regretted but there are times I thought I could have done that better. And usually it's with relation to money. So like you, that's one of the things I want to focus on in this decade, my 40s. Weird to say it, but it's like, okay, this is a time where I can be a little more intentional. And this is the first calendar year that I've ever gone into not really drinking. You know and that makes a huge difference. Just not spending $18 on a Tuesday for no reason, not doing that every week
drinks
of the
at
year.
A bar,
That's much money. $70 a week. That's a low estimate. Times that by 50. What's 70 times 50? I don't know. It's too much money to spend on beer.
You can't afford that.
I'm not in the spot to be doing that right now.
No.
And so that feels good. And so it was just a lot of the times I'm just practically forced into making good choices because it just feels better. It's like, oh, I'm not going out to this mic that nobody's going to be at tonight because I want to get a good night's sleep, because I want to work out and I want to have energy to talk with Kelly tomorrow. I don't want to be coming here chatting with you dragging ass. I want it to be alive. I want it to be awake. Right. I want it to be present for this thing that juices me up and that I know you will also benefit or appreciate as well. Benefit. But appreciation is the real juice, right? That's the manna in the center. So it's like,
well, thank you for bringing your whole self here.
Well, I'm happy to. I don't really know another way. Thank you.
Do you so were you always like not a health nut, but were you always like into fitness like in Korea?
Yeah. I was working out the whole time. The reason I'm 40 and have the physique and energy that I do is because for the last 25 years I've been lifting weights. I've been doing strength training. That's the key to all of it. And it's why I can put in a really good month of focused work and see decent results or get to a place where other people notice them, because I've done it consistently my whole life. And ever since I was a high school athlete, it's like, I've moved from a traditional weightlifting perspective in the last year to a more athletic or functional based training program. And I've paid to get some other guy's training program, Judd Leinhardt, a guy I really like online. And so like getting an online kind of program really helped, and just having something to maintain my head. That's what working out has done for me. It's been my mental and physical health, pills my whole life. I was diagnosed in the last 6 to 8 months with depression and ADHD, which I try not to tether myself too strongly to, but it is a part of me that makes more sense or that helps me put pieces together about my life. And the fact that I have gotten through as much as I have, I think is due largely to that focus on physical well-being. And if I didn't have the gym, if I didn't have that desire, I do not think that my, mental stability would be what it is.
Yeah, probably not, because where would all that energy or what would happen in all that space of time? Would you be sitting on a Netflix binge? Would you be playing video games, smoking weed? Like what?
Right. It's like
it could. There's a lot of negative alternatives for all that time that you've been spending on your health.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to see myself get into a more healthy, and it's part of the plan. That's it is a goal, but it's a lot of people's goal. But definitely my diet is something I want to watch out for. And my girlfriend's on me for that quite a lot, but I got a little more time before it becomes like I don't know, maybe I don't. Maybe it's like now, like investing money. It's like
now is the time. It's never the time. Now is literally the time. We can always put it off, but hey, guess what? It doesn't. Now is also the time not to do a complete overhaul. Now is the time to take that walk that you were putting off. Now is the time to do that next step in front of you, because it opens up more space for you to do the next thing. Just like procrastinating your assignment, if you put that off until Sunday, you know what else it's doing? It's leaking energy into the rest of your life. It's taking away from your ability to do other things, because that energy is dripping into that unfinished assignment. I bet if you put that energy into it tonight, tomorrow morning, you got it done with 3 days ahead of you before the deadline, you'd get so much more done.
So I'd get, and I'd also have a lot more time to enjoy my time instead of being like, I got this thing pressing on me. Right.
The relief is immense from getting stuff done a little ahead of time. And it's like, ooh, when I stopped taking some deadlines off, or when I stopped like putting so many deadlines on me and just had them more strategically placed, that's a great way for me to release some of that pressure and stress, because there's so many things I still want to do. Like my 5-minute workouts are lacking, but I took the weekly daily timer off. And now when I'm thinking about it, when I'm looking at them in my head, it's so much more fun. And just like, oh, I will look forward to it the next time I get to do it. I put in 50 daily workouts that literally nobody watched. And it was a lot of work every day for those 12 weeks, but nobody watched them. And I learned how to do it. So now when I get back into it, it'll be more fun because I do like them. And I like
because
the process.
Instead you'll be doing it because you want to do it and not because you're telling yourself you have to. And
Correct.
You're not like, oh, I got to get the next one. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
And so it's more of a choice, and it's more willing, and it's more fun. And I think it'll make it better. And I have a better plan for the big picture of them all. And then my next project after those. And, you know, I have 3 or 4 different workout video series. Did you see squat ones? Did you see my squat ones?
I saw this one. I saw this one. Hang on.
Oh, nice. Yes. I love ones like that. That's perfect. Those are beautiful. And
Maybe.
You're back. But if you wanted to do another a little interview, call it Squat Ones, where we do a workout together for 5 to 10 minutes and I ask you questions. So instead of Hot Ones, it's Squat Ones.
I have not seen Squat Ones then. That is fun.
Yeah, Adam helped me come up with that idea, Palmeter, and so
he's bright. I like Adam. I miss him.
Ones. Yeah,
okay,
we had a really
cool.
good combo. So
yeah, okay, yeah. Hit me up for Squat Ones. Give me a little time to progress in some of these, in life a little bit. But
for sure,
for sure. I'd love to do some Squat Ones and sweat it out, and then I would definitely have to show my belly.
Yeah, you just want to show your belly is I think what is going on.
You know what? It's like my belly right now is one of my biggest insecurities, or
okay.
like my physical form at the moment is not in the best. I'm not in the best shape I've ever been in. I might even be in the worst shape I've ever been in.
Oh, here it is.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
He's not doing it.
But it's so one of those things. I'm going to bring it up before you do.
Yeah. I love it.
But I'm all right. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Did we cover all the bases?
I think we covered. So one of the last questions I like to kind of finish with, and you've touched on it in some ways, I guess. But if you could tell your early comedy self any piece of advice, or if you could have known anything back in the day, what do you wish it would be?
I wish I could have. I don't know if I would still struggle with it today. So if I were to get back, I just want to be in the moment a little more and be a little more like on my feet, and like instead of reciting something, the best times I've ever had. But I would rehearse a lot and practice a lot, but I never got out of I was like, okay, the more I know this, the more beat for beat I know this routine or this story or this joke, the better it's going to be. But then it's not. So loosening up a little bit on stage, looking at the people and really actually engaging with them when the time is right. You know what I mean? Because audience engagement, when you're bantering back and forth, hopefully it's not a heckler, but I was never good with hecklers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I was
yucky.
awful with them.
I hate it.
I hate it too. But, some people think that that's going to improve the show. And it usually does if you hold your own at all.
If you know how to deal with it.
The audience is going to be on your side first. unless they already hate you.
Right.
And then you're not going to win because they already don't like you. But if they like you or they want you to succeed, they definitely don't like the heckler. So if you have any way that you can engage with that person and then, and still like have control, without like freezing and then being like, fuck you, dude, like, which is what I used to do sometimes. Right. And like I was like, oh, I'm confidently telling this dude off, but I'm not being funny and I'm making everybody uncomfortable.
Totally.
Especially 100%. Myself. Yeah. So I think something that I wish I could have learned going into comedy was just, coming off the book a little bit and just relying on my own ability to not really be scared on stage.
Right. Because you do have a strong presence on stage and improvisation is a strength of yours. But when you're tossed those curveballs from the audience, it's really hard. And you asked me earlier if I ever think of things I should have said or places to put things in a conversation. Here's what I do. When I get a heckler that I respond to, when I respond to a heckler in a way that I wasn't happy with, and I think about it afterwards, I will try to think of 5 other ways I could have responded. And them exactly like that. But guess what I did? I just thought of 5 alternatives that I could have used to approach that situation differently. And guess what? I'll get that situation again in the future and I'll be better prepared next time. And hopefully you can just
grab it right from that pouch and, or like one of those 5s might, exactly. And that's...
Nail that quiver and you're like, and you got it. And you feel so much better and the audience is on board.
Yes, and it kills, right?
And it kills. It's so much more rewarding than like getting mad and getting in your feelings. And I did a very similar thing. Yeah,
I have this one awful video of me. I kicked a guy out of a show, but there was so much more to it. I was like the 4th comic,
right?
And I was like, I had run the whole show and I had talked to him multiple times, and then I go up for my set and he immediately heckles. I'd been telling him not to or else. And then it was just like, okay, motherfucker. I was like, fuck him. He's a piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking loser. And and
it doesn't
people thought it was part of the show. Oh, it's so embarrassing. I have the video of it. I won't throw it away. I shared it with my comedy guys.
Yeah.
But
it's tough because when you can. So at the shows I did at Margaritaville, I headlined at Margaritaville, and there was a couple freaking hecklers that thought they were making the show better, but the rest of the crowd was already on my side. So I was able to pit the crowd against the hecklers in a fun way that night. And that was just like one of my most fun, and I haven't even watched the video. I don't know how it went over on film or whatever, but it was one of my most fun, like, crowd work moments and proudest, I guess, because it's like these people were an issue. And I definitely could have buckled in another world. Like the Friday show was a little slow, not awesome. And if I'd have gotten hit with those hecklers on the Friday show, I might not have been able to deal with it like I wanted to. But on Saturday, I had prepared, I was more prepared, more on my toes. And it goes with that idea of you talking about just be in the moment. It doesn't matter, like, yes, get your jokes down. Have your material ready. But allow yourself, then you can go off and come back to the course in a fluid way.
I had a lot of times where I would get off the stage, I wouldn't remember anything. It's like you enter this whole blackout, like there's like you don't see anything in front of you, right? Mm-hmm. You're just like, some pretty like road shows and stuff where you go and you're not against your home team or whatever, but but it's still fun. Totally. That was great. That was also awesome because also you would have like a supportive. I remember bombing. I bombed a few times out there, but I also did well out there a couple times. But I remember I was like, oh yeah, I was talking with the guys going up, Brian Aylward, I was talking with him and Tharp and all those old guys, Sam, and I was like, I got this character I sometimes do, and I just do a full character. It bombs every time, but and they're like, but it's funny, but it bombs, and it, nobody ever likes it. And Aylward was like, well, that's what you're doing tonight. And I was like, and I did, and it bombed. But I don't know, it like that is way more memorable than, just doing the old routine again, having something like come up, and then now we have a story, or the way I tell it is just like about doing so badly on stage. There was a couple breaths of fresh air where I like improv'd something and it went well because it went well, not for the crowd, but for the three guys drinking Cass in the corner over there watching me laughing their ass off because they know I didn't want to do this. Great. It was a great memory.
Sometimes putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions really pays off. And you don't want to do it all the time, right? If you're on a paid show and you don't want to be someone who just fucks around. But sometimes it feels so much better to just ditch the notes and do a totally new thing and give it a try. And if you screw it up, you screw it up. But who cares? You gave it a shot.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
All right, bro. So give me for them squats, and then and I'll hopefully be able to share a couple more poems from my punk metal.
Man, maybe we'll get stuck in a well in Vietnam on your next song. I don't know. Dude, Kelly, it's always been so fun talking with you, and I'm stoked that we got a chance to catch up today.
Well, thank you for catching up with me. Thanks for reaching out.
Absolutely, my man. If people want to see, and is there any? You're not pushing anything. What are your final thoughts?
Fact, my Instagram and my Facebook are on private now, which is not going to help the podcast, but
it's all good.
But that's just one of those things that comes with a public job, right? It's just man. Unless you're gonna do one or you're gonna do the other, right? So
I totally get it. We could do another podcast on that stuff, but maybe later this year.
Nothing to push, but hi everybody, and nice to see you, Rudy.
Nice to see you too, Kelly. I appreciate you. Any final words before we stop the pod today?
Love.
That's the most important one.
Just joking, everybody. Hate.
Oh, we gotta have both. All right. Well, thanks again.
The devil rules. No, but for real though, it's the devil rules, and pure hatred for mankind. If you're 5'5", I am 6'6". That's it. But take care of each other. Love.
That's the one. We'll see you.
Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Not jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. Jokes in the gym. With Rudy T.